It's a June 30th here in Seoul, and I'm Kim Dami. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour, starting with the latest weather updates here in the country. Southern parts of the country, including Jeju Island, will continue to see heavy downpours until Saturday. Summer heat will resume here in the capital region. The Yoon administration announced new names for key government posts in a major shakeup, including a new Unification Minister and an Olympic weightlifting gold medalist as a Vice Culture Minister. And South Korea advances to the Under-17 Asian Cup final after defeating Uzbekistan 1-0 in the semifinals. Team Korea will face Japan on Sunday. Southern parts of the country are still seeing torrential rain with heavy rain warnings issued there. The central region will have a break from much of the monsoon rain starting this afternoon. Our Kim Do-yeon starts us off.
In Yeongju City in Gyeongsang-buk-do Province, cars are buried in mud as heavy rain took down a pile of dirt from a nearby construction site. Luckily, nobody was injured in the incident, which occurred sometime between late Thursday night into early Friday morning, as the city saw more than 230 millimeters of rain in just 2 days as the season's monsoon takes hold of South Korea. As of 6:40 a.m. Friday, a heavy rain warning has been issued for southern regions of the country. Warnings are also issued for most of Jeollanam-do Province as well as for Gwangju City. Gwangju City has so far seen 400 millimeters of rain since the monsoon season began on June 25th. Parts of Jeollabuk-do, Gyeongsang-buk-do, Gyeongsang-namdo provinces and Jeju Island are under the warning as well. The Korea Meteorological Administration has forecasted 50 to 100 millimeters of rain for Jeollanam-do and Gyeongsang-namdo provinces, while Jeju is expected to see 100 to 200 millimeters on Friday. The capital region is expected to see significantly less precipitation. Landslide warnings are also in effect in the northern part of Gyeongsang-buk-do province as the earth has been weakened after days of torrential rain. While on Saturday, the country is expected to see some respite from the rain. Clouds are on their way from the south, and Jeju is expected to see monsoon rain again on Sunday. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
President Yoon's office on Thursday announced new names for key government posts in its major shakeup, hoping to add momentum for the administration's reform drive. Our top office correspondent Oh Soo-young has the details.
President Yoon Suk-yeol carried out his first major reshuffle of key government officials on Thursday, replacing 15 ministerial and vice ministerial positions, hoping to gain momentum in pushing through his key state policies, spanning inter-Korean relations to energy and labor reform. First, the administration announced its pick for Unification Minister, who will handle inter-Korean affairs, as Kim Young-ho, an expert in the field as an academic and an advisor to the government, with current South Korean ambassador to Thailand Moon Sung-hyun as his deputy. Another ministerial-level appointment is that of former prosecutor Kim Hong-il, with a legal background of around 40 years as the Commissioner for Anti-Corruption and Civil Rights. Among the 13 vice ministerial positions named, one standout pick is former Olympic weightlifting gold medalist Chang Mi-ran as the new Deputy Vice Culture Minister. Also notably, 5 key appointments were incumbent presidential secretaries, including the Secretary for Management Kim Ho-jin as the first Vice Land and Transport Minister, with Baek Won-guk as the deputy, expected to oversee housing policies. Also crossing over to the government as vice ministers are Park Sung-hoon for Oceans and Fisheries, Im Sang-jun for Environment, and Cho Sung-kyung for Science and ICT. Other postings include current ambassador to Vietnam Oh Young-ju as Deputy Vice Foreign Minister, along with other deputies at the Finance, Startup, Labour and Agricultural Ministries, and the head of the National Human Resources Development Institute. Emphasising the word consistency, senior Yoon officials told reporters that the secretaries were assigned to their respective government roles based on their deep understanding of the administration's major policy drives, indicating a clear desire for closer coordination. The cabinet shake-up was also seen by observers as a move to coordinate and prepare for next year's general elections as key officials repositioned themselves to enter the race. Top Office spokesperson Kim Eun-hye says the president asked his new appointees to break down corrupt power relations and interest groups that hinder public interest.
Politics is about resolving current issues people face day to day and preparing for the future. In the process, reinforcing the values of fairness and rule of law as the starting point of justice for the people, that's been the direction of the Yoon administration consistently to this day.
As vice ministers can simply be named, they will take up their new roles from Monday, while the Unification Minister nominee goes through a separate hearing and confirmation process. 오수영, Arirang News.
In a much symbolic move to further reshape their bilateral ties, South Korea and Japan have agreed to bring back their currency swap for the first time in 8 years. Moon Hae-ryun has this report.
South Korea and Japan are resuming their currency swap pact after an 8-year pause. Finance Minister Chu Kyung-ho and his Japanese counterpart Shunichi Suzuki held a bilateral meeting in Tokyo on Thursday to finalize the details. The amount set is $10 billion, relatively small in comparison to the $70 billion in 2011, before relations between the neighbors soured in 2015. However, experts say that this amount isn't set in stone.
It's likely that they will continue to increase the amount as economic cooperation between the two countries continues to strengthen in the future.
This comes amid improving diplomatic relations and with progress in other areas, such as with the restoration of both countries to each other's trade whitelists. Currency swaps between countries are typically agreements where currencies are lent for a certain period in times of emergency or to boost trade. This particular example secures dollar liquidity for South Korea, as Japan is set to provide US dollars. While there is no great need for South Korea to secure dollar liquidity, as its foreign reserves rank 9th in the world with a total of $421 billion as of May, this deal holds significance as it strengthens its financial safety net.
It also holds a lot of meaning as it marks a resumption of monetary cooperation between South Korea and Japan after its expiration back in 2015.
With this latest agreement reached between Seoul and Tokyo, watchers expect this to be a starting point for economic cooperation to flourish between not only South Korea and Japan, but also with the United States. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News.
Despite higher interest rates, the U.S. economy showed a surprising durability, growing at 2% annual pace in the January to March period. The U.S. Commerce Department released the figure on Thursday, sharply upgrading its first quarter assessment of the nation's gross domestic product, the total output of goods and services, from the previous estimated annual rate of 1.3%. Despite the uptick, it still shows a slowdown from the two preceding quarters, largely due to a series of rate hikes aimed at curbing inflation. The Federal Reserve Chair has hinted at 2 more rate hikes to come, prompting concerns of a contraction in consumer spending, which accounts for 70% of the U.S. economy. The U.S. Supreme Court decided on Thursday that colleges and universities can no longer take race into consideration when it comes to admissions. President Biden slammed the decision, calling the court not normal. Lee Seung-ja reports.
The U.S. Supreme Court on Thursday ruled 6-3 that U.S. colleges and universities can no longer apply affirmative action as a specific basis for granting admission, meaning race can no longer be taken into consideration in tertiary level applications. The landmark decision reverses a decades-long precedent that benefited Black and Latino students when entering higher education. According to Chief Justice John Roberts, Harvard and University of North Carolina admissions programs violated the Equal Protection Clause as they failed to give measurable objectives to justify the use of race in admissions. He added that affirmative action programs in the 2 schools unavoidably employ race in a negative manner, involve racial stereotyping, and lack meaningful endpoints. While the majority opinion by the U.S. Supreme Court does not formally overturn affirmative action in higher education, it will make it virtually impossible for colleges and universities to take race into account for admissions from now on. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden criticized the latest decision by the Supreme Court, saying the decision walked away from decades of precedent, adding he strongly disagreed with the decision.
Today, the court once again walked away from decades of precedent and make, as the dissent has made clear. The dissent states in today's decision, quote, rolls back decades of precedent and momentous progress, end of quote. I agree with that statement from the dissent.
Despite the latest decision by the top court, Biden urged schools to continue considering racial adversity for applicants. He says discrimination still exists in America and that the Supreme Court ruling was a severe disappointment. The affirmative action ruling is the latest in recent reversals by the Supreme Court, including a ruling on abortion rights. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
South Korea has advanced to the Under-17 Asian Cup final after beating Uzbekistan 1-0 in the semifinals. Playing at the Pathumthani Stadium on Thursday, the young Taeguk Warriors advanced to the final thanks to a 31st-minute free kick goal from Baek In-woo. And after Japan defeated Iran 3-0 in the other semifinal, the Korean squad will take on rivals Japan in Sunday's final at 9 p.m. Korea time. Now, the match will be the first time the countries have met in an Under-17 Asian Cup final. South Korea previously won the tournament in 1986 and 2002. There's a saying that eating seafood during hot and humid weather can cause uneasiness in our stomachs. But is this true? Should we avoid seafood during the summertime? For more on the summer diet and hygiene, we are joined by Dr. Yoo Byung-wook this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Good. Thanks for joining us. First off, is that true that we should try not to eat seafood during summer?
Well, this is half is true, half is not true. Because, the seafood, like a shellfish, is very good protein for our health. There are less cholesterol. It's very good food supply for the protein. But usually the hot and humid weather is the food goes bad very easily. But in Korea, our cold chain is good enough to control it. But the problem is, don't leave your refrigerator at home because we are take to go and bring that at home. We are keep in the refrigerator too long. Sometimes it go badly. But usually in the cold chain, in the restaurant, is good enough and clean enough, and there are hygiene enough to provide to us and good. But usually we can say in the better people like pregnant women and the youngers and the aged people, better to not eat much in the seafood during the hot summer. But in Korea, our cold chain system is good enough to keep on good health.
That's a relief as much of a seafood fan throughout the all season. So it is safe to eat seafood as long as it's been kept cool enough and clean enough, right?
Absolutely.
Then also let's talk about bottled stuff, water or even cold bottled beverage, because it becomes an essential item to carry on in the summertime, right? But just after one drink, the bottle becomes immediately exposed to germs and bacteria. I mean, doctor, is that so? I mean, how many varieties of germs and bacteria are there?
Very good questions, because that's why I prepared one bottle. So usually we have a drink like this directly the mouth. The problem is, so whenever just open the tap, immediately start to get contaminated. But our stomach, stomach juice is acid, is strong enough to kill the germ. The problem is, when time goes, we have very interesting experimental. After just open the bottles of tap, 1 hour later, 40,000 germs can be incubated in hot summertime.
Wow.
So if we use the straw means is the opening and on one of the channel and the germ in the air go into the cup and the bottle. Oh, surprise.
Yeah.
So that's why I suggest use the not disposable cup. So you're because of our hygiene and save our earth, using your private cup, it pour the water, using that, this is better. But if you couldn't bring your private cup, open the tap of the bottled water, immediately you are drinking and throw away, especially in hot summer, please.
I see. So using your private cups like tumblers is the best way to drink in the summertime. Just not for our stomachs, but also for the environment.
Absolutely. Save us.
Right. Then we all know how important it is to wear sunscreen under the hot weather. What's the best way to apply sun protection cream? I mean, how often should we apply? And, you know, there's a number, SPF and PA. What do those numbers mean?
Well, my mom said when I was young, oh boy, don't forget the sunscreen. And so higher is better. So this will be true, 100%. But let me say there are some true SPF, some protective factor, which is protect for ultraviolet B. So actually more than 15, that's enough. So we have one funny story. If you walk in the hiking in the mountain, so you don't need a full package for the climb mountain in the Himalaya in Nepal. So which means you don't need a full equip. So more than 15 of SPF, that's enough. But very good question, how often? It's like hot summer, we are sweating some. So even in indoor, start to the indoor, put the sunscreen, and every 2 hours, I highly recommend it. Oh, what is the PA? PA, because there are SPF and PA plus something. PA means protect guiding against ultraviolet A. Oh, so SPF for ultraviolet B, PA for ultraviolet A. Actually, the both are very important, protect your skin. So, but high number and double plus or triple plus, it doesn't matter. Keep on your sunscreen often, even the indoor in hot summer, please.
Right. So higher the number, but it doesn't have to be too high as long as it's higher than the number 15, right?
Yeah, 15, that enough.
Then before we let you go, Doctor, can you share one last piece of advice on how to survive this summer strong and healthy?
Well, keep hydrating, drink water, and please check your color of the urine, because if the frequency of the urine, the P is less, so it's a kind of red cardio health. Keep hydrating. Also, look around your minority group. Because Korea, we have to take care of the minority group. They couldn't use, they cannot have enough for air conditioning and the cold chain system. So the Korean societies, we are hot and warm more than this hot summer. Please to take care of yourself as well. Look around your minority group in our society.
Right. Not only taking care of ourselves, but also those who are around us, especially in the hot summertime. All right. Thank you so much for all the tips this morning. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Thank you for having me.
Good morning, I'm Matthew Ashley, and we now turn over to stories from around the world. We begin in Russia, where sources quoted by the Associated Press say that a top general has been arrested following the uprising by the mercenary Wagner Group, which was aborted on Saturday. Now, the person reportedly detained is General Sergei Surovikin, the deputy commander of the Russian group of forces fighting in Ukraine. It's not known what charges he faces or where he has been detained. But the military leader is reported to have known about Wagner's plans to stage the insurrection days before it happened. He's also said to have had long-time links with Yevgeny Prigozhin, leader of the mercenary group. Surovikin, known as General Armageddon for his brutal tactics, initially led strikes on Ukraine's infrastructure, but was later replaced by General Valery Gerasimov. Gerasimov's whereabouts is also unknown, as he has disappeared from public view since the aborted mutiny. Moving on to health, the World Health Organization's Cancer Research Division appears set to list one of the world's most widely used artificial sweeteners as a possible carcinogen. A report by Reuters news agency says that aspartame will be added under the designation possibly carcinogenic to humans, as there is some limited evidence linking aspartame to cancer. Now, the title is the least serious categorization in the WHO's three-tier carcinogen warning system. The WHO has been previously criticized for publishing confusing assessments and creating panic over ingredients that can be difficult to avoid. Aspartame is found in products such as diet sodas, bottled teas, and chewing gum. Now, turning our attention upwards, Virgin Galactic joined the space tourism industry on Thursday after successfully launching its first commercial flight. Taking to the skies above the New Mexico desert in a spacecraft called Unity, the company's first paid voyage carried 3 Italians who wished to conduct experiments in zero-gravity conditions. The achievement is nearly 20 years in the making, since founder Sir Richard Branson started the company in 2004. He is now aiming to send the roughly 800 people who have already bought tickets into space. In contrast to competitors SpaceX and Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic sends its passengers into space by launching its spacecraft from beneath the wing of a larger plane whilst in the air. And finally, for the first time, astronomers have heard the low-frequency humming of large gravitational waves that are moving through the universe. They managed the feat by measuring light across a galaxy-wide array of flashing pulsar stars, which are spinning remains of exploded stars. The discovery, which was announced on Wednesday, took a decade, requiring collaboration between researchers based all over the world. It's theorized that the waves started soon after the Big Bang and are emerging from pairs of supermassive black holes that weigh as much as a billion suns and are spread throughout the universe. Now, the long-awaited find was made difficult by the waves' faint nature and the fact that they vibrate at timescales that are decades long.
Good morning. Rain has eased in the capital area with just a sprinkle, but certain parts of the country are soaked with intense rainfall with 30 to 60 millimeters of an hour of rain to pound down through tomorrow dawn. So a heavy rain advisory is in place for parts of Jeollado and Gyeongsang-do provinces in Jeju Island. Authorities have warned of the risk of flash floods and landslides there. And until tomorrow, Jeju could see more than 250 millimeters, and Jeollanam-do and Gyeongsang-namdo provinces could see 150 millimeters of showers. Meanwhile, central regions will receive another bout of rain in the afternoon. But afternoon highs in central areas will go up 3 to 5 degrees higher than yesterday, topping out at 31 degrees Celsius here in the capital, similar to slightly lower in the south with a high of 28 degrees in Daegu along with showers. Now, all the regions will get a break from monsoon rain by Saturday afternoon, but sweaty temperatures set in with tropical nights to appear. Then the monsoonal front returns on Sunday to Jeju Island. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the international weather conditions.
We thank you for watching New Day at Arirang. Stay safe wherever you are.
Loved and watched around the world. We want to make more animations to reach more children. Traveling time and space. Developing adventure and curiosity. Infinite creativity and hope. We want our children to grow up to be happy. K-animation, watched by children all around the world. so that joy can be felt when our animation is watched. This is the reason we make animation and share with the world. K-Animation, befriending children all over the world.
We're here to make a new type of news. New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Making news just for you. It's June 30th here in Seoul. I'm Shin Yeun, and this is News Generation, where we make the news at Arirang's very own open studio. Every morning, we'll discuss the top issues and latest current affairs affecting people in their 20s and 30s. Joining me in the studio is Niall Song.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. And Park Ki-hoon.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. As usual, let's start with our news feed, which covers different hashtags and news items that have been trending on social media over the past 24 hours. K-pop girl group 50/50 has filed a provisional injunction to suspend their exclusive contract with their agency Attract. The four members said their agency violated contract terms and claimed that they were forced to go through their schedule despite poor health conditions. This K-pop group has blown up explosively despite being produced from a small label. Industry insiders attribute the agency to have wisely recognized the potential of TikTok as a promotional tool. And from Saturday, you may be able to enjoy movie theaters at cheaper prices. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism has decided to include movie tickets as cultural expenses so moviegoers can apply for the tax back. Now, this means each individual can receive up to 30% back from their movie tickets, and this will be applied to those who earn up to $53,000 a year and use 25% of it on living costs. Each individual will only receive a tax deduction of up to $2,281. Now, the 2008 Olympic weightlifting champion, Jang Mi-ran, was named the second Vice Minister of Culture, Sports and Tourism on Thursday. She is the third elite athlete to hold that position, following former shooter Park Jong-gil and ex-swimmer Choi Yoon-hee. Now, it's great news for the sports industry. Jang Mi-ran has a very decorated athletic resume, and she won a gold at the 2008 Olympics competing in the plus 75 kilo category. And at the time, she broke the world record total of 326 kilograms. She also broke world records in snatch and in the clean and jerk. She also has many world titles. After retiring in 2013, she's been helping young athletes with scholarships and has also worked as a university professor. Now, Ki-hoon, I don't know about you, but when I was young, I remember watching the Olympics and seeing Jang Mi-ran come out so much. We all called her like the warrior, right? Weren't you a little fascinated to find out her next achievement in life?
Yes, and then she's definitely a living legend, and I still remember watching her win the gold medal in the Beijing Olympics, and I felt really proud. Even though I was back in Sydney and I was not that old, I was very proud to see a Korean women weightlifter win a gold medal. And I think, she's really paved the way for, young aspiring weightlifters to, pursue this kind of career in this sport, because it's not the mainstream sport. It's not that popular, but it is gaining popularity thanks to people like her. And I think it's great to see like world-class athletes like her continue like their second career as, creating foundations and becoming a pivotal member in this kind of sports scene, especially in sports, like I mentioned, that's not considered mainstream. And I think without these efforts, we won't see any like future superstars grow in the future, especially here in Korea. So I'm definitely looking forward to, the 2024 Paris Olympics to see Team Korea, do better ever than before.
And you mentioned a very interesting point. If you're not competing in mainstream sports, I do think a lot of athletes go through the slump after their golden years of going to the Olympics and getting awards. You don't really hear about them because media doesn't really cover them. But for me, I saw Jang Mi-ran recently on a YouTube channel, and she appeared as a professor. So I was like, oh, that's what she's up to. And then I was even more excited to hear that she's being seated as one of the top officials for the sports industry, for the Minister of Culture, Sports and Tourism. What about you now?
Right, like you just mentioned, I heard that, she studies really hard. She's an academic. She teaches well. And Rose Ran is actually her nickname in Korean, because Changmi means rose in Korean. And, it was really a turning point for me, too, when I was, watching her be in the Olympics, because you don't really see women and strength and you tie them together.
Right.
But watching that as, a high schooler, and honestly watching her with her interviews, her character really shines through. She's a hardworking person, and it's just so inspirational. And I feel like she redefines femininity.
Yeah.
And, she, like we mentioned, works really hard studying academically and also in coaching. So I'm really excited for her in this next season and what she's going to bring for the Korean sports industry.
All right, and we're now going to start our main discussion topic. Though it's a Friday, the weather isn't helping us feel any better. And what better way to wrap up the week by looking at some of the latest, hottest entertainment news in the country. And today we're going to zoom in to what's been happening in the Korean entertainment scene. So what's the latest entertainment news that has caught your attention these days now?
I've seen a lot of articles that start with lost weight or gained weight, and it's not news. We've seen this for the past few decades, but I've seen things like girl group Ives, Liz after glow up after losing so and so many kilos. And the reason why Karina has to be so skinny in real life is because when you see her on stage, and they have two pictures comparing like real life and on stage, and that depending on the angle, no matter how skinny you are, it'll make you look bigger, right? And so people are like, oh, that's why you have to be so skinny. And I'm like, is that a good takeaway? And, there's pictures of idols in bikinis saying slender but cute. And it's all focused on the weight, body weight of a woman, and we don't get that about men. Occasionally we get the, oh yeah, he bulked up and he glowed up, but
occasionally though.
Yeah, occasionally. Very few compared to female idols and actresses. And I really think it's this toxic trait where we focus on how many kilos they lost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's that ideal idol weight, right?
Right.
Like you have to be like 42, 43 kilos.
That's impossible.
It's impossible. They're grown-ups. They can't weigh that.
It's so underweight, and when they do gain weight, they also write about that, But like Chang Won-young from I've also, she was known for being really skinny, and then people would comment, oh, she's too skinny, she's too skinny. And then they posted something saying Chang Won-young gained 5 kilos and then a glow up. I'm like,
I know.
The focus of it, I just feel like it's so unfortunate, and kilos are different, muscle weight, fat percentage, and there's a lot of things that we can't measure with just kilos. And I really hope that in the future we just move past all of this.
Do you think it's more of a Korean thing, especially in the Korean K entertainment business, where they focus so much on especially the women, like how much they gained or how much they lost? Is it kind of like a Korean kind of?
I feel like it is. You do see this in the Western media as well, but I don't see it going down to the point of talking about kilograms.
I know.
Like 5 kilograms. Oh, they lost, like 10 pounds.
Exactly.
How do you know this? And, I do feel like it's a very Eastern Asian thing too. But yeah, I think we just want our stars to be healthy, and their job is to sing, dance, act, and, perform for us. So for them to really stay healthy and continue doing that.
Health matters. And I think another point there is the beauty standards too. I think these news headlines obsessing over the weight that they lost or how they seem. For instance, I don't understand how one celebrity gaining 5 kilos could be newsworthy, But that sort of shows that the public is interested, because celebrities do inevitably determine our body image and what we aspire to be going for. But Kyun, what about you? What's the latest entertainment news that caught your attention?
Before I say anything about the latest news, I lost 2 kilos. Can you tell?
Oh, you're looking really nice.
Can you tell with my sharp chin line?
See, someone make a headline about this.
We don't notice. That's why it's a good thing. We have a healthy work environment.
As long as you're beautiful on the inside and happy on the inside, you'll look beautiful on the outside as well. I just wanted to tap on idols in the acting scene, because the latest news that I saw was Tiffany from Girls' Generation. She's joined the cast of the upcoming drama called Uncle 삼식 alongside Song Kang-ho from Parasite. So, nowadays we're seeing many idols play the lead role in dramas and films. But, back when they first started in the acting scene, there were many critics and viewers who felt very uncomfortable seeing idols on screen acting because, I mean, honestly, when I saw them as well, I found it really awkward. Why? Acting, because obviously they're not professional actors. They were obviously idols performing on stage, which is very different. And obviously, they didn't have the experience, but now they're more natural. But back when they started, it was very kind of like, ooh, why are they acting on screen? So you can just, to give you a better understanding, just imagine an actor or an actress performing on stage, singing and dancing idol songs.
That is a bit strange.
Can you imagine Song Kang-ho doing,
I can't. I would like
singing
to see
big
that.
BTS songs? Can you imagine Song Kang-ho singing to a BTS song?
That's a good analogy, though. I never thought about it the other way around.
If you think about the other way around, you'll be like, oh, that doesn't just
That's
match.
a little uncanny. It's
But nowadays, you see so many different idols, and they're so natural. They're good at what they're doing. They're winning awards, and they're in these mainstream, popular films. So just to name a few, Im Siwan.
I was gonna say Im Siwan. Some people don't even know that
he was an idol.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know because
that's how good he was at acting. That's the thing, and not just him, Im Yuna from Girls' Generation, Lee Junho and Ok Tae-kyung from 2PM.
Yeah.
That's why they were dubbed 연기돌. 연기 means acting, 돌 idol, so 연기돌.
The people have accepted them.
Yeah.
People have.
And there's Dio from EXO, and the list goes on. So I think, it's good to see that there are more idols, in the acting scene. But if you think about the other way around, seeing actors dancing on stage, that might come one day, hopefully. But
do you want that to come one day?
Not really.
Why not?
I'm not ready to see, Song Kang-ho doing the BTS dance. I'm not sure.
I mean, it's very multi-talented people, and these days I actually saw online, the singer Bibi, while she was singing, and there's a few clips of her acting, and people were saying she needs to go into acting because she's so good. So there are people who are really going back and forth because of their multi-talent, but as a viewer in the past, I understand how people were kind of thrown off by the characters changing.
If I sum up, you can add on.
Just one more thing, but thinking about actors and actresses, they're actually good at singing. When they have fan meetings, fan concerts, they actually sing many different songs. So I was surprised to see how many actors and actresses were so good at singing.
And they dance too.
And they dance as well.
They practice for months or
almost
something.
everything kind of goes hand in hand, right?
And that's what I was gonna say. I think the K-entertainment industry at the moment requires you to be you have a lot.
You have
of
to do
talent.
everything.
You have to be a good singer. You have to be a good actor because you never know where you'll end.
Are you a good dancer?
You know what? I want to be a good dancer.
Are you a good singer?
I want to be a good singer.
We all want to
good
be
actress?
good singers.
Maybe
Oh, you're good at acting. We've seen many skits.
You've seen many skits.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying.
She's getting there. Yeah.
Even though I'm doing news right now, I still need many talents because this is the new industry is requiring you to be multiple talented. Now, we're going to include another Hallyu fan living overseas to see which news story she's been following the most these days. Now, we're going to connect her right after this. Let's now include a global K-pop Hallyu fan in our talks. It's Jinny Hwang, a content creator of all these Hallyu news from Buenos Aires. Welcome, Jinny.
Hi, how are you? Buen dia in Spanish for the Spanish speakers.
Buen dia. Okay.
Buen dia.
All right, Jinny. Now, I would like to ask you the first question. Could you give us a short introduction of yourself and explain to us who your favorite K-pop group or actor are these days?
Oh, wow. My name is Hwang Jinny. Well, I'm a journalist. Actually, I had the honor to be the first TV news anchor in Latin America from Korean nationality.
Wow.
And currently, I'm correspondent of Korean media, including Arirang Radio, and also influencer about Korean culture. So we have around 3 million followers in different platforms. In social media, I'm known as Jinny Channel. Well, as for your question about my favorite, stars, I could not point out actually one group. I like them all. Like every artist is an example of sacrifice, effort, and passion. And I really admire them for that. And Latin fans appreciate those values a lot too. One time I asked my fans, "Why do you like so much K-pop?" And their response was really shocking. They said they love the values of Korean culture, respect, sacrifice, and efforts. Wow. And that's amazing. And about actors, maybe I would mention a couple of a drama that I like a lot. Extraordinary Attorney Woo, Kang Tae-hoi.
Really nice. All right,
wow. Okay, my second question for you, you being a correspondent and being really involved with the K entertainment news, share with us the top 3 biggest K entertainment news stories right now. What is the hottest thing?
Oh, yeah. Well, the first topic actually is not pure entertainment, but it gained a lot of attention in Latin America. The system of counting the age in Korea. That was a hot news in Argentina. And actually, I was interviewed by various journalists for that topic. It's something so strange for foreigners, including Latin Americans. So it was really a nice opportunity to talk about Korea and other aspects of the culture, such as, even K-beauty, because when I was interviewed, I would say, okay, we are younger, not because of K-beauty, but because of law. So, a lot of fans ask whether this system, will change the way the military service age is counted, relating to K-pop artists. And it was a chance to explain that it will not change at that case.
I see.
Okay, Jenny, what do you think is the biggest appeal about Hallyu to international fans these days?
Well, I think the great appeal is that it's not one thing. Hallyu has everything, from music, dramas, movie, food, beauty, everything. And many times when I'm invited to Hallyu events, it's beautiful to see families enjoying together. Kids with K-pop, mom with K-beauty, everybody with food. And it's lovely how gathers, families. And it's a family event. So, many times moms, would approach me and told me that they are so happy that their kids are busy, dancing K-pop, because therefore they're far from bad influences and addictions.
Right, so K-pop is now acting as the glue, sticking different generations together. I remember going to concerts and interviewing people, and as you mentioned, Shinny, it was really interesting to see a mother and daughter cheer on for this specific group. I think it was BTS at the time, and they're like, we love the values that BTS is trying to spread, as you mentioned. Now, I would like to ask you the last question. We're seeing a lot of news related to K-entertainment. Niall and Kyun here sort of talked about different celebrities and where their whereabouts are at the moment right now. Is there any news that you're looking forward to seeing develop at the moment?
Oh, news. The news that you mentioned in the beginning about 50-50. Wow, it will be interesting, to see how it develops. We're kind of worried since one member is, recovering from a health issue. And on the other hand, the group is dealing with difficulties with the company. So, it's kind of pity because this group had so much potential, so much potential. And in Latin America, it has a lot of fans too.
I see. All right, thank you so much, Jenny. It was a pleasure to hear from you all the way from Buenos Aires today.
Thank you. Hasta luego.
All right, hasta luego. Now, before we continue our talks, we're also going to hear from our global viewers, and we asked what they had to say on today's topic. Nina said, recently, BTS's 10th anniversary celebrations in Yeouido and the fireworks event caught my attention the most. Leon Teo said the news that some artists are suing their agencies or trying to nullify their exclusive contracts and end up successfully doing so, like Luna and Bae 173's Nam Doyeon. Other recent examples include Lee Seung-gi and EXO, CBX. Benny Jenny D97 said the news of SM artists' comebacks, including SHINee and EXO, and the success of recent K-dramas. So we can clearly tell that our viewers are quite interested about K-entertainment.
They're very invested.
They're very invested. Now, NewsGen is also going to be sharing our views on the latest Korean entertainment buzz. We're going to do that by showing you a few pics of the hottest news, and we're going to go around the studio with our panelists introducing 2 pictures each, starting with Nell.
All right, so let's look at, this one is actually Kyun. So
it's mine.
Kyun, all right,
Let me take it because
all right.
I love aespa.
Oh, okay.
All right, the K-pop sensation group aespa threw out the first ceremonial pitch on June 8 at New York Yankee Stadium in a match between New York Yankees and Chicago White Sox to promote their world tour. It was the first time in 9 years at a major league game after Suji from Miss A had the honor at Dodger Stadium when Korean baseball player Yoon was part of the LA Dodgers team. Unfortunately, Giselle could not take part due to health issues, but luckily, Lady Luck was on the Yankees side as they won the game 3-0.
Oh, that's really nice.
Amazing.
It's so amazing to see K-pop artists go all the way there and do that, right? Now, why don't you, Nell, then share the second news scoop?
Right, speaking of, K-pop artists and K-artists going abroad, Jenny. Cannes is the dream festival for actors all over the world, and everybody wants to be there, but Blackpink's Jennie walked down the red carpet at Cannes for her debut as an actress for the series The Idol. And, she even had her own photo time despite not even being the main actress, who was actually Lily Rose Depp. But, there were a lot of controversies for having The Idol having a lot of nudity, profanity, drugs, sadism, masochism, a lot of smoking. So this was, a huge controversy. But despite that, there have been clips of Jennie's acting online, and people are really excited and looking forward to seeing this. Fans are looking forward to seeing Jennie on screen in a different way, and you can watch it on HBO Max.
I know a lot of controversy surrounded Jennie, but you have to think about that's a really big step for her in her acting career. As we mentioned with Kyun before, a lot of idols going to the acting scene.
Multi-talented.
I know.
Definitely.
The next story, Kyun?
All right, the new cast of Squid Game Season 2 has been unveiled. 8 new cast members was further announced alongside Im Siwan, Kang Han-il, Park Sung-hoon, and Yang Dong-gun on Thursday.
Wow. So exciting.
Yeah, I am. Me too. Even the former Big Bang member T.O.P. is set to appear in the upcoming season. The star-studded casting lineup will start shooting in the latter half of this year. However, the release date has not been set yet, so all eyes are on, when it'll be released, the season 2.
And do you guys think that season 2 will be as big as a buzz as it was with season 1?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look at the lineup. It's crazy.
Like, the hype is there, and I'm especially looking forward to Lee Jung-jae's acting because, his name in the series
is the
same as me, Kyun.
It was Kyun.
Kyun. So a lot of people were calling me like Kyun throughout the season. It was pretty fun.
And it was sort of an open ending at season 1.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens in season 2. Let's go.
I wonder why he dyed his hair.
I know.
Yeah, we're all looking. We really want to know why.
I know. We hopefully want to find out the release date soon. Now let's move on to our last story. The next one is
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise came to Korea for the press conference for his new movie Mission Impossible 7.
Yes.
This is actually his 11th time visiting Korea, and obviously the Korean fans love him, and some call him like Gi-hun Hyung, Tom Hyung, like an older brother in a familiar way. But as he is 60, people have started calling him Ajashi. But to me, that just feels so wrong, because Tom Cruise is forever engraved in my mind as Top Gun or Jerry Maguire from the 80s and 90s. But you know what? He's still incredible no matter what the age is, doing all his own crazy stunts. He was jumping off of cliffs on motorcycles. And yeah, actually, he was seen in the streets of Jamsil just freely roaming around on the night of 28th. And he was taking pictures with fans casually. And you can see that he's really genuine in how he treats his fans, receiving, flowers from them, thanking them, like taking his time. And I just hope that this next movie does well and he returns soon again.
And whenever we have have these Hollywood stars come to Korea, we always ask them to do the sonatu.
Yes.
Or the
Korean
hearts.
heart.
Yeah, the Korean
This one.
hearts. But I think this just opens up the door for more interaction, more cultural exchange on this front. And that's all we have. We did a new approach today, right?
Yeah,
Talking
it was so
about the
fun.
entertainment news.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll do that again soon. And we'll wrap up for today. We'll be here every day from 9:30 to 10 a.m. Korea time, bringing you more topics young people are talking about. Special thanks to Nal Song.
No problem.
And Park Ki-hoon.
It's always a pleasure.
And thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you next week. We are
News Generation.
이 세상이 더